Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. We are approaching halftime for 2022, which, like any movie or actual sport, you go into halftime and you want to make some adjustments for the second half of the year. That's pretty much what this is. And this is a common practice for anybody who's been investing successfully anyway for a while. You want to make regular adjustments to your investing portfolio. Generally, this is anywhere between 1 to 4 times a year. So annually, you come in, you make adjustments, you leave it alone, you come back to next year. That's totally fine. I know a lot of people think you have to do stuff every day. You actually don't. 1 time a year is plenty. The other thing is that you can do it more frequently, which is 4 times a year, or quarterly. So what is that? March, July, October, and then December, or September, December. Y'all get the point. 4 times a year is when you want to do that. And then I'm right in the middle where I only do it twice. June, December. That's it. Now the advantage of doing this is that, one, you don't overcorrect, you don't over adjust and overreact to what's going on. You're trying to do stuff weekly, that's going to hurt you. You're trying to do stuff monthly, again, you're adjusting to too much information and you overcorrect. Usually, because we know the stock market rises over time, not every day, clearly not every year, you're going to be fine. So if you sit still and you just make small tweaks to your portfolio, you're usually a bit better off. Helps you to get in the right spots, helps you to be more disciplined. And again, it also forces you to kind of think long term to a degree and think ahead. So I'll give you the 3 things that will be on my mind, 3 adjustments that 3 things that are going to influence my adjustments moving forward. Now, what I am going to buy and when I am going to buy it, you're going to see this week. However, for our members only, when you click the Join Now tab at the bottom, I'm going to give them exactly what I am doing before it is public information on public or on Instagram or wherever else you might see me making some moves. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing is, you want to update your viewpoints, okay? When you are making adjustments to your portfolio, and really, when you're investing as a whole, you're thinking in advance. Your viewpoint is, I'm investing in this index fund because I think the market is going to be better over the next X amount of time, right? If I'm investing in any company, I'm investing because I think this company is going to do X, Y, and Z. I think it's going to do better in X amount of time, so 6 months, a year, whatever that thing is going to be. Well, depending on what year you're investing in, things could be a little rocky. And for example, for me, you can go back to the videos, I do videos Monday through Friday. You can go back to the videos we did in December when I made adjustments to my portfolio. And I said back then that I was going to hold on to Capital One because they are a credit card, but also they are a bank. Interest rates were going up. We knew that. That's one thing we didn't know. We didn't know inflation was going to be this bad. We didn't know that Russia and Ukraine was going to be a thing. We didn't know none of that. Okay, we had no idea that was going to happen. But we did know inflation was going to, we didn't know interest rates were going to rise. So I said, look, I'll give Capital One more time. I think in 2022 that was going to help me out. That's not exactly what happened. I thought banks, I've said this in January, said it in December, I thought that banks were going to be the easiest, best spot to invest because of interest rates. Problem was, I didn't expect recession talk and the threat of recession. We won't know whether or not we're going to run into a recession until the end, or whether or not we're in a recession rather, until the end of July. Problem is though, the market already felt this and feels like we're in a recession. The market is down, S&P 500 rather, is down negative 18% so far. That's not great. And stocks like Capital One are down more than 20%. JP Morgan is down. Bank of America, they're all down, right? And that's not what I would have thought going into it. Okay, so time for me to adjust my viewpoints and make a slight shift. What has worked is insurance companies. Progressive, Travelers, Cigna, they're all green. And I know Progressive, at least when I looked at it yesterday, was up double digits. Perhaps we can make a small tweak here. What we thought was going to happen did not happen. There were a few things on the board that we did not see coming, and we need to make small adjustments for that. Will I sell Capital One? I'll find out tonight, or at some point tomorrow. We'll see. Right? I honestly do not know yet. Why I'm not happy about how banks have done, and there are a lot of reports that say, hey, we might not hit a recession in 2022, but it could come in 2023. Well, if that's the case, I got to sit on this company another 2 years or another year and a half or whatever it's going to be. Do I really want to do that? Maybe there's somewhere I can invest that could be better. Again, we'll see, right? That's not the only thing that Capital One does, at least for me, right? So we'll see. So number one, you want to update those viewpoints around what you thought coming into it, and what things you may want to adjust moving forward. The other thing too, when it comes to updating those viewpoints, I think it's important to perhaps write this down. You don't necessarily have to have a journal, but I do think whether it's on public, which I think is good, you can write down, hey, I'm buying this because of X, Y, and Z. You can go back and check those posts and see how you feel now, right? You could be right, you could be wrong. You may not know yet because you haven't invested long enough, or your time frame is 2 or 3 or 4 years, right? That's totally fine. But you want to go back and see, was I correct in my thought? How do I feel now? Is that scenario still the case? Because my thing is interest rates are going up. That part is true. That doesn't help banks if we're going to a recession. So that part is not true. Now we need to reconcile that. Now we need to make some decisions based on that. The second part, what we have learned so far in 2022 is crypto is not a hedge for inflation. Now, notice what I said. I'm going to say it real close because I got some enthusiastic crypto fans who feel a certain way and want to say some certain things and some certain comments. Crypto is not a hedge against inflation. That does not mean that crypto can't be whatever you think it's going to be. That doesn't mean that crypto can't change the world or that blockchain is whatever. It can be all of those things. I personally don't care. I still own crypto. I'm not selling the crypto that I have. I also don't have a whole ton of it either, and that is on purpose. But the key here is, coming into it, many people were led into and were told that it was a hedge against inflation. Inflation is high, crypto is low. That's literally not what a hedge is. A hedge is a protection measure that when something happens, this thing kicks in. This thing protects you from whatever else is going out there in the world. To a degree, dividends are a hedge against inflation, kinda, but more so it's a hedge against a down market. That's why you see a lot of dividend stocks that have been paying dividends forever. Coca-Cola do well. That's why you're seeing companies, I know, who was it? Target. They increased their dividend significantly. We talked yesterday about Nike increasing their dividend. That's a way to keep investors around. We know, giving plenty more time, that stocks and dividends have been around, that is somewhat of a hedge. I don't think it's the best hedge in the world, okay? It's not the best hedge in the world, but it is something. And even in a down market, while it is not guaranteed, keyword, not guaranteed that you will get your dividend in a down market or in a recession, you do know that that is a place that investors tend to go, and that based on what company you have, you may still get something coming in to offset some of the losses that you could get. Crypto just hasn't been a hedge against inflation. That's literally it. It doesn't go further than that. But it is something that you do want to update, something that we learned in 2022, and then you need to act accordingly. Does that mean that you should sell your crypto? Can't tell you what to do with your investments, okay? Can't tell you that. But I do think you need to adjust what you thought about it, if you thought a certain way about it, and make sure it's in line with who you are as an investor. So for me, I've said this before, I said I want 1 to 3% of my entire portfolio. Okay, that was it. Once I hit 3% at an absolute max, that's it. I'm not doing anymore. I never got to that because crypto dropped so far. So when I make my adjustments to my portfolio, I'm gonna go and see, am I at 1%? Am I at 0.5? Am I at 0.25? And make those adjustments. Maybe I'll try and get back to 1% and just leave it alone. Okay, so I'm going to make some adjustments to my portfolio based on how I feel about my risk and what is happening so far this year. You need to do the same. I would really, really implore you to ask yourself and to see for yourself, how much of crypto do you have compared to everything else that you have in your portfolio? Yours doesn't have to be 1 to 3%. You make up your own rule, okay? But if I were your advisor, just based on how volatile it is and based on perhaps your age, perhaps what your goals are, if you keeping up on 50 or 60% of your entire portfolio on crypto, I'm gonna look at you strange, okay? That doesn't mean it's bad. That does not mean it's bad, but it does say that if you are in your 20s, you got time. You got time for that to recover. If you are in your 60s and 60% of your portfolio is in crypto, I think that's a little risky. Okay, might be a little risky. Again, you have to assess what your risk is. I can't tell you what your risk should be. Okay, I'm just telling you what mine is and what I am doing and what the reality is. It's not a hedge against inflation. That does not mean it's not good. I have to keep saying it because people don't really understand context. Okay, all right, so third thing that you want to keep in mind is that not every dip is the same. And I think people have come off this a little bit because, you know, buy the dip was something that was trending. It ain't trending no more. And I think the key thing is you may be investing in a very good company right now that's down pretty bad. Okay, now my process is, look, I can get out of some stuff that is good but bad and get something that's at least medium, right? So for example, I'm somebody who got up off of Disney and I got up off of Square, which is now Block, and I lost my 25% or whatever it is. Those stocks are down more now than what they were when I got out. Good for me, right? And I can offset that and say, look, I'm not going to lose 40 or 50% in Disney. I think Disney is down 38% as of today. I'm going to go and get something boring like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is up 7 or 8% or whatever it is, plus better dividends than Disney perhaps. I can do that, right? That might be something you want to look into. However, just because a company is down 20, 30, 40, 50%, which is terrible to say, doesn't really mean that it is a terrible company. So when I say every dip is not the same, here's what I mean. S&P 500 is down 18% across the board. Okay, so almost, not all, but almost every company is down at least double digits, unless you're in energy, unless you are in insurance, perhaps healthcare. Those are just a few pockets, or Coca-Cola. And I'm sorry for adding more, but like maybe a Dollar General and stuff like that. So outside of those few pockets, everything else is down close to double digits. Not everything, most of everything. So get this. Peloton is down 79%. PayPal is down 62%. Coinbase is down 84%. All of those are terrible. Peloton, 79, negative. PayPal, down 62, negative. And Coinbase, down 84, negative. All in the tech space. Coinbase and PayPal are a bit closer, but y'all get the point. Tech, relatively new. PayPal, not so new. But most of us would consider relatively innovative companies. Only one of those is profitable. Only one of those I can relatively guarantee is going to be around in the next 3 to 4 years. I would say PayPal. PayPal is profitable. They have decent leadership. I think they have a great ecosystem. It's a good company. Would I invest knowing that it's down 62%, knowing that a recession could be around the corner, knowing that inflation is what it is? Probably not. Not when I have something like a Coca-Cola or a Travelers or a Progressive. Like, PayPal is not that bad. It's not a terrible company. I don't think they're going bankrupt. I think they'll be around, but I also have other choices. But if you believe in PayPal, and if I had to choose a company that's going to be, higher or extremely high in the next 5 years, maybe PayPal could make sense. But not every dip is the same. Just because it's down doesn't mean everything's a Peloton, which is struggling. Not everything is a Coinbase, which is struggling and laying off employees. I haven't heard anything about PayPal. So we'll see. But no, K-N-O-W, that not every dip is the same. And while I've said this before, like, yeah, I buy the dip on Apple. Yeah, I buy the dip on Microsoft. Maybe Google or Alphabet now. I might not do it for a Netflix. Maybe. Right? It really depends. So not every dip is the same. These combined are the three things that you do want to pay attention to and use these to make your adjustments. So number one, update. Make an update to your viewpoints and what you thought going into the year and what we think can happen between now and the end of the year, and perhaps even now and summer of 2023. Remember, recession may or may not happen this year. Many are expecting that if it's not this year, there's a 75% chance that it could happen in 2023 at some point. I honestly do not know. And I will keep that in mind going into this season, going into halftime. So I will keep my eye on dividend stocks. We'll keep my eye on defensive stocks. And we'll continue to invest in some of the areas I'm currently investing in. So we'll keep that in mind. But, factor that in. Just factor it in. How you want to factor it in, what your answer is going to be, that's going to depend. Number two, keep your eye on crypto. It's not a hedge against inflation. Doesn't mean it's not a good thing. That's going to be up to you. But you do want to make sure your risk factor. If you are somebody that does not like sharp dips, if you are somebody that watches your account every day and when you lose money it stresses you out, that's not the place for you. It is not. If you are somebody that can watch and just leave things alone and wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years and not panic, then it might be, right? Make sure that matches up. Make sure it matches up. And the last thing, not every dip is the same. There are some companies that are down 20% that make a lot of sense. I think, this is me, I think Nvidia, which is down more than 40%, is fine. I'm continuously investing in Nvidia. I did not continuously invest in Block. I'm not continuously investing in PayPal, even though I like those companies. I'm going to take my negative 40, which is terrible to say again. I'm going to take my negative 40. I'm going to take my Coca-Cola. I'm going to take whatever insurance company I can get than pouring money into companies that are down 60%. Okay. And while I don't like being down 40%, I can almost guarantee that a company that is riddled by shortages, because there is a chip shortage, but also like you can't run PayPal or really anything without these chips. So I know that company is necessary. I know it's valuable, and they are still making more money now than what they were a year, even 2 years ago. So not every dip is the same. You got to be real careful about what makes sense for a dip and what does not. So those are 3 lessons you should learn so far from 2022. Y'all know we're gonna come back in December and see how we did, see what we need to update. But this is the time. Make those small adjustments. You don't have to wholesale everything. You don't have to do that, but you do want to make some small adjustments. If you want to know exactly what adjustments I'm making, especially if you want to know before everybody else knows, you want to make sure you're in the Join Now community. I'm going to go over everything that I'm changing and why. The video is going to come out very, very shortly, and you do want to make sure you're on that. We do videos every single week. They're exclusive just for people on the Join Now tab. So make sure you do that. Members only. Make sure you are in the group. All right, that's it for me. Talk to you later.